Hello and welcome to our crash course about roles in the GDPR. The data subject is an individual, like you and me. A lot of the GDPR revolves around the person whose data is being used. As a data subject, you have different rights, and those responsible have many obligations and requirements related to the data subject. The controller is the centerpiece of data protection. Controller decides and is accountable for why and how personal data is processed. Among many other responsibilities, the controller has to ensure that the use of personal data is legal and it is done securely. There is also a role called processor. Processor does not decide why and how to use personal data. This is instructed by the controller. However, processor is not an employee of the controller. Usually, it is a company that provides some type of services to the controller which requires using personal data on behalf of the controller. Typically, if a company is providing services to other organizations, they are in the role of data processor, accounting, marketing, IT, HR, security services, etc. For example, a company named Red Accounting Services is providing payroll service to a bank. In this case, the employees of the bank are the data subjects whose personal data, such as name and salary, is being used to calculate the payroll. The bank is the data controller and decides what personal data is used for payroll and how to do it securely. Red Accounting Services is the processor, using and securing personal data as instructed by the bank. The role of the third party is also important to know and recognize. The data exchange with third parties is inherently related to higher risk compared to typical controller-processor data flow. In the case of using a service provider as a processor, the focus is on data security. However, when disclosing personal data to a third party, the question of whether providing such data to a third party is lawful or illegal needs to be solved first. For example, an e-commerce company as a controller may disclose customer data to the service providers in relation to those services like IT or accounting. The service providers act as processors. However, providing any personal data of customers to a third party is not so straightforward. The company needs to make sure that it is legal to provide the data to the third party, regardless of what the third party itself claims. To summarize the most important roles, it is important to know that the rights, accountability, and responsibilities depend on the role one is fulfilling according to the GDPR. Typically, in every data flow, there is an organization fulfilling the role of the controller. If the data subjects has any questions or concerns, the controller has to make sure those are properly handled. If the controller uses a service provider, the service provider acts as a processor. If a third party requests any personal data, it has to be determined whether providing the data is legal or not. Thank you for watching. Kindly check out our other videos to learn more about data protection and the GDPR.